Communications Incorporated here up on Benson Street. And welcome to this morning's edition of Prime News Run. 45 minutes of all of the major happenings in Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. The top stories we're following this morning. Visiting Asila Metal Global Chief Executive Officer vows to create enormous economic opportunities for Liberians through job creation and local business empowerment as President Joseph Barclay recounts the numerous contributions of the world steel giant.
I'm very happy that he is president now, and we had a very fruitful, honest discussions today.
Thank him for he and his group. We are very proud of the investment they have made in this country, and our determination is to encourage foreign investment.
Supreme Court of Liberia declines to issue a rate of prohibition as prayed for by Nora Finda-Bondo's gracious right on the Asset Recovery Task Force. Justice in Chambers Yusuf Kaba instructs the task force to proceed in line with the law. And also coming up, county superintendents request increased budgetary support for county development, termed the US $200,000 as a drop in the ocean. On the home front, a mortar attack in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 3 soldiers from a Southern African military force. And Niger's ruling junta has doubled down on its demand that U.S. troops withdraw, dealing the blow to Washington's security interest in the Sahel. These plus other developments are all packaged in this morning's presentation of the Prime News Run. My name is Trojan Kiazulu presenting. But first, Barclay Karley is pretty seated to read for us the news bulletin. Good morning, Barclay.
Good morning, Trojan, and good morning, Liberia. President Joseph Boakai says government recognizes ArcelorMittal's commitment and contribution to Liberia's development agenda. Speaking on Monday when the Liberian leader received a high-level dedication headed by ArcelorMittal's Chief Executive Officer Lashmi Mittal, President Boakai noted that despite the enormous challenges confronting the country, it will encourage investment that will help to transform the lives of the people. The meeting with ArcelorMittal dedication and the Liberian Chief Executive underscored the ties and collaboration between Liberia and the company, which complement his agenda for sustainable development in Liberia. To its new expansion project, the company has committed $1.4 billion in new investment towards building an iron ore concentrator to produce high-grade iron ore, which increases production to $15 million tons per annum. For his part, the visiting ArcelorMittal's CEO Lashmi Mittal said the company will continue to create economic opportunities for Liberians by creating jobs, supporting local businesses, and improving the country's economy. Mr. Mittal used the occasion to call on citizens and members of the 55th legislature to work with the company to leave from its initial US 5 million tons per annum operation to improve tons that will benefit the country and its people. The Supreme Court of Liberia has declined to issue a writ of prohibition for by petition on gracious right against President Joseph Barclay's assets recovery theme. Justice in Chambers Yusuf Kabad Monday, through a communication attached to his verdict, instructed the assets recovery team to proceed in keeping with the law of Liberia. Associate Justice Kabad mentioned that reserving the rights of the assets recovery team in keeping with the law seeks to ensure it proceed with legal investigation of gracious right vehicles. The Supreme Court of Liberia indicated that government submit and use to the petitioning part while committing to the court that the appropriate laws will be applied in consonance with due process and the rule of law. Several superintendents of various counties are recommending an increment of US $1 million in the County Development Fund. In recent years, various counties have been receiving an amount of US $200,000 from the government through the National Budget for County Development, but appearing on Monday confirmation hearing, at least 12 superintendents nominated by President Joseph Barclay recommended an increment of $1 million in allocation for County Development Fund. The superintendents designated appearing Monday for confirmation hearing include Warren Brand, Maserado County, former Representative Alice Grant of Grangeda County, Henry Cole, Maryland, former Representative Baron Zanwe, Rivers, and Antoinette Nimlin, Grencoe counties respectively. Others are Miatadole, Bomi County, Komampie, Nimba, Lolea Hawa, Norris Bonk, Mark Swangbe, Riwaji, Lavela Masakwe, Lofa, and Semzina of Babolo counties. The superintendent's designate described the yearly allocation of US $200,000 for the development of Erie County as a drop in the auction, stressing that the development draft of the whole county cannot be actualized with a little of US 200,000 placed in the national budget. The jointly called on the Liberian Senate through its Committee on Internal Affairs and Rural Development to push the advocacy of increasing allocation meant for county development to effectively run the counties. The Liberian Senate is expected to take a firm decision on the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia on today, Tuesday, April 9, 2024. Making the disclosure Monday on our official Facebook page, Senate Pro Tem Yombli Kangaloran said members of the Senate have relied on advice from members of the committees on Judiciary and Defense, Security and Intelligence on the court's establishment. It can be recalled citizens, civil society organizations, local and international groups have been calling for the establishment of the War Crimes Court to bring an end to impunity on crimes committed during the civil war that led to the death of more than 250,000 citizens. Recently, 43 members of the House of Representatives voted for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which was sent to the Liberian Senate for concurrence. The Senate Pro Tem noted that the public can be assured that senators are also interested and concerned about what has been a long-standing issue of impunity in Liberia that has been keen on taking the appropriate step. Senate Pro Tem Yombli Kanga Lawrence also posted pictures of some senators who were seen signing documents making their position clear on the court's establishment. The Joint Budget Committee of the 55th Legislature has vowed to robustly scrutinize the 2024 national budget of US $692 million in the interest of the Liberian people. Moswado County District Number 16 Representative Dixon Sibo and Chairman of the Joint Budget Committee on behalf of the committee said for the next 4 days, intensive revenue hearings will be taking place. The Joint Budget Committee comprises of committees on Ways, Means and Development Planning and Public Accounts and Expenditure from the House of Representatives and Senate. Representative Sibo explains that the 2024 draft national budget will begin with the revenue component, while the expenditure hearing will be done in open session in the joint chamber of the legislature. Remarking at the start of the budget hearing on Monday, Liberia Revenue Authority Commissioner General Dobo Jala said deliberation on the national revenue budget is a pivotal policy instrument. It is pertinent to reflect on the challenges and successes that characterized their performance during the preceding fiscal year. He averred that at the beginning of the fiscal year 2023, the legislature approved a revenue budget of US $782.9 million, but following the May-year review, the budget was revised to US $771.7 million. He has stressed that the achievement is noteworthy and underscores the effectiveness of the country's revenue mobilization efforts, but there persist challenges, particularly concerning state-owned enterprises, which consistently fall short of projections and what he termed as the misuse of duty-free privileges. For his part, Finance Development Planning Minister Boyman Kamara said government is optimistic about the expansion of economic growth by its targets $1 billion. The National Identification Registry has introduced a new mechanism aimed at easing the procedure to obtain the NIR card in the country. NIR Communication Director Daniel Sigwich said, based on President Joseph Boakar's desire from citizens to obtain NIR cards, it has procured a modern equipment that will accelerate the process of obtaining the national identity. Addressing the news conference on Monday, Segway explained that it will now take people in Monrovia in this environment 3 days to obtain the national identification cards. According to Segway, it will take people residing outside Monrovia and other parts of the country less than 1 week to obtain the national identification cards. The Liberia Business Association is calling on the 55th legislature to increase allotment intended to support Liberian-owned businesses. LIBA chairperson on trade and commerce, Dominic Nimlin, said the current US $250,000 placed in the proposed 2024 national budget is a drop in the ocean. Nimlin mentioned that the allotment of such amount indicates that government is serious to improve Liberian business. Mr. Nimlin also encouraged President Joseph Boakai to hold meeting with members of the Liberia Business Association in order to address their challenges. Some aggrieved citizens of Grandjita County on the Bano concerned citizens have staged a protest against the nomination of Ellis Grant as superintendent of the county. The concerned Grandjitian who took on the Capitol building Monday are calling on the Liberian Senate to reject President Joseph Boakai's nominee, former Representative Grant confirmation as superintendent of Grandjita County. Speaking to journalists at the Capitol, the aggrieved Grandjita citizens accused their former lawmaker of poor performance during his 12 years leadership as representative of the county, is something they calling to them brought shame and disgrace to them both locally, nationally, and internationally. They allege that the death of many prominent citizens of the county have been associated with former lawmaker Grant, including the death of late Representative Ero Medicine Guian, Otis Jolo, and the disappearance of NEC staff Alfred Dunon, among others. The Grandjitians in recent time have been calling on President Joseph Boakai to withdraw Grant's appointment and appoint another prominent citizen of the county, but appearing for his confirmation hearing Monday, Grandjita County Superintendent Designate Ellis Grant described cause by the concerned citizens of the county as politically motivated while promising to resolve issue if confirmed by the Liberian Senate. The National Insurance Company of Liberia on Monday distributed several bags of rice along with assorted food materials to at least 3 populated mosques in Central Monrovia and parts adjacent. The state-run insurance company, according to its deputy managing director for administration, Abdullah Swari, is part of the company's corporate social responsibility to the Liberian people, especially the Muslim community. NICO's deputy director Swari then called on Muslims in Liberia and the world to use the holy month of Ramadan to pray for the leadership of the country, headed by Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai, whose vision is to lift Liberians out of poverty. Mr. Swari was speaking on Monday when he led a delegation from the National Insurance Company of Liberia to identify with the Islamic community as the month-long fast and prayer gradually come to a close. The Nicole delegation visited the New Georgia Fish Market and Benson Street mosques while urging the leadership of the various mosques to ensure that the materials reach the beneficiaries who are the ordinary fasting Muslims. Receiving and expressing gratitude on behalf of fellow Muslims, the Chief Imam of Liberia, Ali Karley, hope that the Almighty Allah will grant the prayers of Muslims who sacrifice during the whole month of Ramadan. Imam Karley then called for Allah's guardians towards the leadership of the country, its citizens, and those from the National Insurance Company of Liberia. Heads of government agencies and development partners have begun their 4-day discussion aimed at reviewing the joint sectoral portfolio performance of assistance to the Liberian government. The discussion is organized by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning with funding from the United Nations Development Program. Speaking at the opening of the ceremony, Deputy Finance Minister for Economic Affairs, Depo Zuo, said the exercise is intended to set the tone for effective aid, dialogue, coordination, management, and leadership, which is the vision of President Joseph Yuma Boakai. In remarks, the African Development Bank President Benedict Kanu recommends that the Liberian government strengthen the private sector aimed at increasing employment and reduce their dependency for jobs and government. Heads of government ministries and development partners are expected to review and discuss the budget of the Project Implementation Unit, Agriculture and Infrastructure Services, Commerce and Industry, as well as basic services for the next 3 days. The National Muslim Council of Liberia is encouraging Muslims to ensure that they sighted the moon after 29 or 30 before climaxing the holy month of Ramadan. The head of the body of Imams at the National Muslim Council of Liberia, Imam Saleh Abbas Khan, said if Muslims observe the month of Ramadan on Monday night. They will end the month-long fasting on Tuesday and pray on Wednesday. Addressing a press conference in Singa, Imam Khan disclosed that Muslims in Liberia can organize their prayer marking the end of the Ramadan on Wednesday. Imam Khan is encouraging Muslims all over Liberia to converge at the various places of worship and mosques to pray for themselves, the nation, and its people. Violent clashes has erupted between students of the Joseph Jenkins Roberts High School and William V. S. Topman High School on 12th Street in Cinco, resulting to injuries and properties damage. According to eyewitnesses, Topman High School principal was allegedly slapped by one of the J.J. Roberts students, something which resulted into stone throwing, thus resulting to injuries and properties damage. Speaking to a team of journalists on Monday, eyewitnesses revealed that the Topman High student has gone to lower the volume of a loudspeaker belonging to students of J.J. Roberts, a situation that resulted to the incident. Meanwhile, the public relations officer of the MCSS, Samuel Yunan, however, thanked the government of Liberia through the Liberia National Police for restoring calm on both campuses, assuring that the matter is currently under investigation. The PRO urged the community to be calm as the school is doing all they can to bring the perpetrators to book in accordance with the school's handbook. Any foreign development, a mortar attack in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 3 soldiers from a Southern African military force. All of those who died were from Tanzania. 3 others were hurt. Hostile missile fire near the camp where they were staying, said the Southern African Development Community SADC on Monday. None of the soldiers have been named, not have further details been given on where or when the attack took place. SADC has also not said who was responsible for the attack on the soldiers. The Southern African Regional Force was invited in the Congolese government last year to halt worsening insecurity linked to numerous rebel groups vying for control of territory and eastern DRC's rich mineral resources. And Niger's ruling junta has doubled down on its demand that U.S. troops withdraw, dealing a blow to Washington's security interests in the Sahel. Last month, military leader General Abdurrahman Tianning ordered U.S. troops to leave after ending the military agreement. At least 650 U.S. personnel are stationed in Niger to monitor jihadist activity. In a statement on Sunday, Niger's junta said they had not benefited from the U.S. military deal as it turned out to be a full bargain. It accused the U.S. of exploiting Niger and interfering in its internal affairs and seeking to control its foreign relations. The chief of the news bulletin is back to you, Trojan Kiazulu, for the continuation of Prime News Run.
Thanks very much, Barclay. Karley, the news bulletin is a regular feature right here on Prime News Run. The top stories, once more, we're following. Visiting Asila Mental, Global Chief Executive Officer, vows to create enormous economic opportunities for Liberians through job creation and local business empowerment as President Joseph Barclay recounts the numerous contributions of the world steel giant. Supreme Court of Liberia declines to issue the writ of prohibition as prayed for by Nora Finabondo's gracious right on the Asset Recovery Task Force. Justice Nchimba Yusuf Kaba instructs the task force to proceed in line with the law. County superintendents request increased budgetary support for county development, termed the US $200,000 as it dropped in the ocean. And off the home front, a mortar attack in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 3 soldiers from a Southern African military base. And Niger's ruling junta has doubled down on its demand that U.S. troops withdraw, dealing a blow to Washington's security interest in the Sahel. The details of these plus others coming up shortly.
Bringing the news to your know with professionalism. This is your first step to hearing the news. This is the last step to knowing your news.
Welcome back. President Joseph Barclay says government recognizes Asila Meta's commitment and contribution to Liberia's development agenda. Speaking on Monday when the Liberian leader received a high-level delegation headed by Asila Meta's Chief Executive Officer, Lakshmi Meanwhile, President Barclay noted that despite the enormous challenges confronting the country, it will encourage investments that will help to transform the lives of the people. The meeting with Asila Metal delegation and the Liberian chief executive underscored the ties and collaboration between Liberia and the company, which complements its arrest agenda for sustainable development in Liberia. Through its new expansion project, the company has committed 1.4 billion United States dollars in new investment towards building an iron ore concentrator to produce high-grade iron ore, which increases production to 15 million tons per annum.
I want to say thanks to Laspi for coming this early. We know how difficult it is. Thank him for he and his group. We are very proud of the investment they have made in this country, and our determination is to encourage foreign investment. We've had a lot of discussion. We know there are some hurdles on the way, along the way, but we are committed to making sure that we resolve them to encourage the investment, and that we will find the best way forward in the interest of the country and the investors. So we just assure him that there's nothing that's going to stop our relationship and to encourage their increased investment in Liberia.
For his part, the visiting Asila Metal CEO lacks create economic opportunities for Liberians by creating jobs, supporting local businesses, and improving the country's economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm very happy that I'm here in Liberia today to greet President Barclay after he became the president of Liberia. I've known him since 2015, 16, 17 when he was vice president. And President reminded me of elected which I wrote in 20 January. And I emphasized that how democracy has to be strengthened in this country. And I felt that he could only do it in 2018. Now I'm very happy that he is president now, and we had a very fruitful, honest discussions today on the prospects of Liberia for ArcelorMittal. We are committed to invest. We have been here since 2005, and we remain the largest foreign investor, and I believe we are the only active foreign investor in this country since 2005. We have committed and we are delivering. People come and commit, but they are not fully delivered. So I'm very proud of my company, my team, my people of ArcelorMittal, that they believe in commitment and they believe in delivering their commitment. Our commitment is not limited to 15 million tons. Our commitment is going much beyond 15 million tons to explore the full potential of Nimba region. It could be 30 million tons. Who knows? It could be beyond 30 million. So we are looking for that vision in this country. We need the support of the government. We need the support of community. We need the support of people. We need the support of legislators to allow us to continue to invest and grow in Liberia. Our vision is to continue to grow. And with my meeting with the president, I'm very happy from his assurances on the pending issues that they will be resolved as soon as possible. Because once the issues are resolved, there is a revenue coming to the country. Today, the revenue is stuck. So I'm happy that Finance Minister was here, Mining Minister was there, Legal Justice Minister is here. So they have all, and Mr. Grisby was here. So they all heard our commitment and our vision for Liberia and Nimba region.
That's the voice of the CEO of Asila Metal, the Laxmi Metal. Earlier, you heard the voice of the president of Liberia, Joseph Nyoma Boakai. Several superintendents of various counties are recommending an increment of $1 million in the County Development Fund. In recent years, various counties have been receiving an amount of $200,000 from the government through the national budget for county development. But appearing on Monday for confirmation hearing, at least 12 superintendents nominated by President Joseph Boakai recommended an increment of $1 million in allocation for county development fund. The superintendents designate appearing Monday for confirmation hearing include Wowe Bryant of Montserrat County, former Representative Alex Grant of Grangeda County, Henry Cole, Maryland, former Representative Byron Zawiye, Rivers, and Antoinette Nimley of Grand Crew counties, respectively. Others are Miata Dole Bombing, Kou Miape, Nimba, Loyowa Hawa, Norris Bonk, Mike Swingby, River G, Lavela, Masakwai, Lofa, and Sam Zina of Bapolu counties.
The MH and the healthcare delivery system in Liberia, and the struggling economic, because we have the economic is struggling, so we have that as a major problem with the healthcare delivery system. So those are the issues that I see facing my people, and that we will try to work on with my caucus and everybody, that all the stakeholders in Prim County.
We are going to ensure that we push for higher budgetary allotment. We talk about it here, but also with us who benefit from the Social Development Fund, to ensure that that funding, or most of that funding, comes to our county. Our people have to benefit. And when that funding is there, we talk about the proper utilization of the funding. Because I said here earlier, the issues we have with education, job opportunities for our people, etc. So that funding is a big issue.
I'm working in town for about 15 years, 20 years. The last time we had two logging companies in the county that trust of people. One of the companies were designed for us. They left 2022, they left. The other one was in the Greenland Forest, South Africa plantation, they left. Those places are still living. So I think we want to complement the executive action, and we'll be able to get a new company that will come and operate, and our people will also be living in power. So those are some of the issues we'll be working on, because no far, like I said, I don't know if I said, I need to some extent alone, because these are issues that then we should also be able to have our purpose and executive action, so that we have a road that will be pliable from salary now to fair, because if the road is pliable, we'll be able to, acquire more businesses coming to our country. It's the last point.
Voices that of superintendents designate at the confirmation hearing on Monday. The Joint Budget Committee of the 55th Legislature has vowed to robustly scrutinize the 2024 national budget of US $692 million in the interest of the Liberian people. Montserrat County District Number 16 Representative Dixon Sibo and Chairman of the Joint Budget Committee, on behalf of the committee, said for the next 4 days, intensive revenue hearings will be taking place. The Joint Budget Committee comprises of committees on Ways, Means, and Development Planning and Public Accounts and Expenditure from the House of Representatives and Senate. Representative Sibo explained that the 2024 draft national budget will begin with the revenue component, while the expenditure hearing will be done in open session in the joint chambers of the legislature.
Having listened to the two institutions in their opening remarks, we'd like to bring this opening section to a close. Thank you for coming, the journalist Food Estate. And as we go along, we'd like to assure you that relevant updates will be made to different stakeholders as we go through the project process. Thank you for coming, and we will recess as the Food Estate leaves us so that we can resort to our working session.
Also speaking at the beginning of the budget hearing, LRA Commissioner General Dobo Jala said deliberation on the national revenue budget, a pivotal policy instrument, it is pertinent to reflect on the challenges and successes that characterized the performance during the preceding fiscal year.
At the beginning of fiscal year 2023, this August body approved a revenue budget of $782.9 million. However, following a mid-year review, the budget was revised to
to 771.7 million. The Liberia Revenue Authority, fully cognizant of the uncertainties triggered by the 2023 electoral process, navigated the landscape with a collection of 715.9 million, thereby falling short of the revised budget by 55.8 million. However, amid this shortfall, I am pleased to report that our domestic revenue collection stood resilient at 611.9 million, exceeding collections from all preceding years except the year 2022. This achievement is noteworthy and underscores the challenges persist, particularly concerning state-owned enterprises (SOEs), which consistently fall short of projection and the misuse of duty-free privileges. As we embark on this hearing, it is imperative to inject realism into the forecasting of revenue for SOEs and scrutinize the extent of revenue foregone through the granting of tax exemptions and waivers.
For his part, Finance Development Planning Minister Boyma Kamara said government is optimistic about the expansion of economic growth by its targeted 1 billion.
We are pleased to be here today, and as we begin this revenue year from the end of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, our nation comes at a point where we need an expansion in the economy, and we believe that the necessary fiscal policy that ensures for strong investment in the economy will be a place of call for our attention, that will work with the legislature and making sure that the appropriate intervention needed for expansion of our country's economy, working with the relevant stakeholders, especially the LRA, has emphasized few of the important intervention instruments that we need, especially the passage of the VAT Act, would be one of those things that will be calling on you all for collaboration in the process of making sure that that is passed, and that will help fast track additional revenue collection. So at this point in time, we believe that we will just make sure that our nation stands at the point when we can together forge stronger policies in the context of the fiscal policies needed for interventions in the economy that will attract investment. And we believe over the medium term, in terms of how we structure our growth, we are seeking a growth path at least to 8%, 10% double-digit growth over the next 6 years.
That's the voice of Liberia's Finance and Development Planning Minister there, Boyma Kamara. Earlier, you heard the voices of District Number 16, Representative Dixon Wulawuli Sibo, who is also the chair on the Joint Committee of the House's Budget Committee, and of course, also the voice of LRA's Commissioner General Dobo Jala. The National Identification Registry has introduced a new mechanism aimed at easing the procedure to obtain the NRR card in the country. NRR Communications Director Daniel Sagbe said, based on President Joseph Boakai's desire from citizens to obtain NRR cards, it has procured a modern equipment that will accelerate the process of obtaining the national identity. Addressing the press conference, Sagbe explained that it will now take people in Monrovia and its environs 3 days to obtain the national identification cards.
We are not being cashed out as in the budget as Liberian-owned businesses. I think if you can check last week or a couple of weeks ago, the Commerce Minister have been making some event fund at the budget because it's only $250,000 US. $250,000 US were placed into the budget for Liberian businesses. That is like a mere bluff. $250,000 I just from the broadcast from buying goods. I came in at Bennington like 1 week, 3 days today. I carry 375.
Well, we're sorry, that's the wrong clip there. We will hope to bring you the right voice, the right excerpt there of Daniel Sagbe. Okay. Well, listeners, if you just joined us, you're listening to Prime News Run, 45 minutes of major happenings in Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. The top stories we follow in visiting Asila Metal Global Chief Executive Officer vows to create enormous economic opportunities for Liberians through job creation and local business empowerment, as President Joseph Boakai recounts the numerous contributions of the world steel giant. Supreme Court of Liberia declines to issue the writ of prohibition as prayed for by Nora Finda gracious ride on the Asset Recovery Task Force. Justice in Chambers Yusuf Kaba instructs the task force to proceed in line with the law. County superintendents request increased budgetary support for county development, turned the US $200,000 asset dropped in the ocean. And of the home front, a mortar attack in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 3 soldiers from a Southern African military base. And Niger's ruling junta has doubled down on its demand that US troops withdraw, dealing a blow to Washington's security interest in the Sahel. A very short break. We'll come back with the rest of the development.
Bringing the news to your know with professionalism. This is your first step to hearing the news. This is the last step to knowing your news.
Welcome back. Today's development now, the Liberia Business Association is calling on the 55th legislature to increase allotment intended to support Liberian-owned businesses. LIBA chairperson on Trade and Commission, Dominic Nimlen, said the current $250,000 United States dollars placed in the proposed 2024 national budget is a drop in the ocean. Addressing a news conference in Monrovia, Nimle mentioned that the allotment of such amount indicates the government is unserious to improve Liberians in business.
We are not being cashed out as in the budget as Liberian-owned businesses. I think if you can check, last week or a couple of weeks ago, the Commerce Minister have been making some event frown at the budget because it's only $250,000 US. $250,000 US were placed into the budget for Liberian businesses. That is like a mere bluff. $250,000. I just from the broadcast from buying goods. I came in at Bennington like 1 week, 3 days today. I carried $375,000. So how is it that you're giving the whole country $250,000? These are not the changes that we asked for. And I think that is an oversight, and we're asking His Excellency President Boakai to revisit that. And another thing, I think the pressure on the president is too much because he has forgotten that when you take power, the first 1 month is sort of meet with the private sector. If the president haven't met with us, he has been 3 months plus. If I'm not mistaken, I stand to be corrected. Even the Commerce Minister as well haven't met with the Liberian private sector as well. And those are, I will call it oversight. Like I said, we're going to do recommendation for now. We need to be casual. We need to be taken serious. We need to be respected. The Liberianization policy, the 100% retailer rights have to come to Liberian. The supplies have to come to Liberian.
That's Dominic Nimlen, an official of the Liberia Business Association that's speaking. Some aggrieved citizens of Green Jida County under the banner Concerned Citizens have staged a protest against the nomination of Alex Grant as superintendent of the county. The Concerned Green Jida citizens who took on the Capitol building Monday are calling on the Liberian Senate to reject President Joseph Boakai's nominee, former Representative Grant's confirmation as superintendent of Grand Jida County. Speaking to journalists at the Capitol, the aggrieved Grand Jida citizens accused their former lawmaker of poor performance during his 12 years leadership as representative of the county, something, according to them, brought shame and disgrace to them both locally, nationally, and internationally. Let's move on to this next excerpt. The National Insurance Company of Liberia on Monday distributed several bags of rice along with assorted food materials to at least 3 populated mosques in central Monrovia and Pass adjacent. The state-run insurance company, according to its Deputy Managing Director for Administration, Abdullahi Swari, is part of the company's corporate social responsibility to the Liberian people, especially the Muslim community. The NICO's Deputy Director Swari then called on Muslims in Liberia and the world to use the holy month of Ramadan to pray for the leadership of the country headed by Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai, whose vision is to lift Liberians out of poverty.
So we are here on behalf of the National Insurance Corporation of Liberia, an institution established by in the early 1980s to ensure all government assets. So ever since NICO has been established and serving the Liberian people in the insurance industry. So this year we made fit to exercise its social corporate responsibilities by reaching out and given the time we found ourselves where our Muslim brothers and sisters are observing the holy month of Ramadan, a period of religious cleansing where prayers are offered and forgiveness are sought out. We thought that this is the right time to identify our Muslim brothers and sisters. So NICO as an institution that is about to kick off in this new dispensation under the regime of His Excellency Joseph Boakai, we thought that this is the right time to do so. So, for and on behalf of the NICO family, we'd like to present these 15 bags of rice to the Chief Imam of the Republic of Liberia to include NICO in his prayers and Liberia in the regime at large. So, without much to be said, I want to say Assalamu alaikum.
Receiving and expressing gratitude on behalf of fellow Muslims, the Chief Imam of Liberia, Ali Karley, hoped that the Almighty Allah will grant the prayers of Muslims who sacrificed during the holy month of Ramadan.
Well, thank you very, very much. We are happy. For us, it's not just the rice or whatever is given to us, but the fact that you thought about us. That is more important. It means we recognize that as a people, we need to identify with one another in times of need. And this time is a time when we pray for the country, we pray for ourselves, as you said, a period of spiritual cleansing. We want to pray that all the efforts we made in this month of Ramadan, the worship, the prayers offered to Allah, Allah will accept them and bless us individually and collectively, that this blessing will also benefit the President, His Excellency, Barclay Joseph Boakai, his government, and all of the people of Liberia. We pray for the NICO family, so that Allah will strengthen your institution, that you will bless yourselves, you in the leadership and those on the team here, with your best wishes, as long as they are in the positive direction. May God bless you all. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
The voice there of Imam Ali Karley. He is the Chief Imam of Liberia. Earlier you heard the voice of Abdullahi Swari. He's the Deputy Managing Director there at the National Insurance Company of Liberia, NACO. Heads of government agencies and development partners have begun a 4-day discussion aimed at reviewing the joint sectorial portfolio performance of assistance to the Liberian government. The discussion is organized by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning with funding from the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Speaking at the opening of the ceremony, Deputy Finance Minister for Economic Affairs, Kiazulu, said the exercise is intended to set the tune for effective aid dialogue, coordination, management, and leadership, which is the vision of President Joseph Boakai.
This exercise is intended to set a tone for effective aid dialogue, coordination, management, and leadership, which is the goal and the vision for President Barclay. The President's vision for New Liberia as a president is outlined in the arrest platform, which cannot be achieved without the support and commitment of our key sector heads and our prime development partners, as well as the civil society, the private sector. The collaborative effort among ministries and agencies, development partners, civil society, the media, the citizens, and every well-meaning Liberian will be our focus, for which the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning has actually called for this joint session review.
In remarks, the African Development Bank President Benedict Kanu recommended that the Liberian government is strengthening the private sector aimed at increasing employment and reduce the dependency for jobs in government.
We who have stayed here longer know we've been doing this routinely over the years. It's a very important event. It enables us to exchange ideas, to do soul searching, and to be able to understand gaps, measure progress, and gauge the way forward. Since we started operations in 1968, approvals amount to at least $1 billion to date. Our current portfolio stands at about $400 million active portfolio, dominated by the transport and energy sectors. Transport accounting for about 50% of the portfolio, energy about 25% of the portfolio. I'd like to outline 3 main points today, and I encourage the government to take this very seriously. There's a lot of unemployment in Liberia. The government cannot be the sole employer, the main employer. It's wrong. There's urgent need for increased private enterprise development. I repeat that because of the noise. There is urgent need for increased private sector development. The urgency cannot be overemphasized. The government should lead development process, but also emphasize private investment.
That's Benedict Kanudel of the African Development Bank. Earlier you heard the voice of Deputy Minister for Economic Affairs, Depu Zuo. The National Muslim Council of Liberia is encouraging Muslims to ensure that they sight the moon after 29 or 30 days before climaxing the holy month of Ramadan. The head of the body of Imams at the National Muslim Council of Liberia, Imam Saleh Abbas Khanen, said if Muslims observe the moon on Monday night, then they will end the month long of fasting. On Tuesday and pray on Wednesday. Addressing a press conference in Sinka, Imam Khanen disclosed that the Muslims in Liberia can organize their prayer marking the end of the Ramadan on Wednesday.
In accordance with the decisions made during the meeting held at the National Council of Liberia headquarters on the 9th of March 2024, which was attended by representatives from the Majlis Fatwa, also from the body of Imams, and also representatives from the committee for the sighting of the crescent, supervised by the chairman of the National Muslim Council of Liberia. We hereby announce the procedure for determining the end of Ramadan and the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. The search for the crescent to mark the end of Ramadan will commence on the 29th, which is today, the 29th Monday, day of Ramadan, corresponding to Monday, the 8th, April 2024. If the crescent is sighted on this day, Eid al-Fitr will be celebrated the following day, which is Tuesday, the 9th of April 2024. However, if the crescent is not sighted on the 29th day of Ramadan, fasting will continue for one more day, and Eid al-Fitr will be celebrated on the first day of Shawwal, corresponding to Wednesday, 10th April 2024. In this regard, we encourage all members of the Muslim community to participate in the moon sighting efforts and to promptly report any sightings to Islamic authorities. And we as well encourage all imams to make necessary arrangements for prayer sites, including the time and also places for conducting the prayers.
That's the head then of the body of Imams at the National Muslim Council of Liberia, Imam Saleh Abbas Khanen. And violent clashes have erupted between students of the Joseph Jenkins Roberts High School and the William V. Studman High School on 12th Street in Sinka, resulting to injuries and properties damage. According to eyewitnesses, a Studman High school principal was allegedly slapped by one of the J.J. Roberts students, something which resulted into stone throwing, thus resulting to injuries and properties damaged. Speaking to a team of reporters on Monday, eyewitnesses revealed that a Tottenham High student had gone to lower the volume of a loudspeaker belonging to students of J.J. Roberts, a situation that resulted to the incident. Meanwhile, the PRO of the MCSS Samuel, thanked the government of Liberia through the Liberia National Police for restoring calm on both campuses, assuring that the matter is currently under investigation. Well, listeners, on that note, that's how we draw the curtains on this morning's presentation of Prime News Run on this 9th day of April. But before we go, here once again are the top stories. Visiting Asila Mental Global Chief Executive Officer vows to create numerous economic opportunities for Liberians through job creation and local business empowerment as President Joseph Barclay recounts the numerous contributions of the world steel giant. Supreme Court of Liberia declines to issue the writ of prohibition as prayed for by Nurafinda Bondo's gracious right on the Asset Recovery Task Force. Justice in Chima Yusuf Kaba instructs the task force to proceed in line with the law. County superintendents request increased budgetary support for county development, termed the US $200,000 as it dropped in the ocean. And of the home front, a mortar attack in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed 3 soldiers from a Southern African military base. And Niger's ruling junta has doubled down on its demand that U.S. troops withdraw, dealing the blow to Washington's security interest in the Sahel. Thanks to all of our reporters and correspondents who contributed in making sure that this edition of Prime News Run came to you live. Thanks to our news director who packaged. Thanks to Barclay Karley, who read you the news bulletin. Melvin Matadi sat at controls and produced all of the sounds. Rufus Brooks Divine brought us live on Facebook. We say thanks for watching. My name is Trojan Kiazulu. I presented a pleasant good morning.
Thank you.